quite a smooth transition. But I don't think anyone noticed. Well, let's hope not. No, give it like a combined intro, so it's like Super Cup and Super League. Good evening everyone and welcome to round 4 of the 2012 Sim Inc. GPVWC Super League Series. I'm Scott Woodwis with Simon Mellowish on the broadcast cameras for tonight. Apologies for the late start, we've had one or two technical difficulties but we are up and running. You join us just with about a couple of minutes to go before warm-up. We were going to do a live lap with Drag Racing's Lee Morris. Unfortunately we don't have time for that unfortunately. But we are just about to we're very close to getting the race started. So we're going to just over a minute rather to go until the race starts. But what we'll do is we'll go over the top 10 qualifiers for the race for you today, and it was in fact another pole position for Midnight Motorsports' Lucas Euler with a stunning lap time. He driving into the 116s with his Midnight Motorsport teammate Nick Rowland in second place, again to make it another Midnight Motorsport front row, the third in a row. Joe Consiglio starts third alongside the returning Dave Carl Smith. He's made the jump into a Super League car tonight for Green Stripes Racing. He's replacing Christoph Lichtenstein. Green Stripes Racing have also brought their effectively B-spec car to this race. It's very showing clearly that it's got some pace in it in the hands of DCS. He's put it fourth. Simon Cattell continuing to impress. He's put his car fifth alongside Drag Racing's Lee Morris, with Pavel Lenoski seventh ahead of 2010 champion Jani Tanskanen for Red Archer Racing, and then row 5 was OJ Clark for Synergetic Motorsports. And Rune Heasterbeek for Neo Racing. We have just about 15 seconds left in warm-up until we're ready to put the cars onto the grid for the start of what I believe is going to be a 70-lap race here at the Hungarian. It is the start, of course, of the European season for GPVWC Super League. Obviously, we've made the trip to Budapest and the magnificent Hungarian for the Hungarian Grand Prix. And it should be quite interesting to see how these guys get on. I've been told that this circuit, obviously, it's a very dry and dusty circuit. In some cases a bit slippery because of all the dust and the dirt that gets onto the track. And tyre wear should be interesting. They've been told apparently that the super soft tyres will last, the option tyres, because the compounds we brought here for this race weekend are the super softs and the soft tyres. So the super softs are the option tyres, the super softs are the prime tyres. Super softs will last about 14 to 15 laps. And not quite sure in terms of the soft ones, the prime tyres, but we'll have a look and see exactly how they run during the course of the race. Warm-up has now finished. So we're just about ready to possibly get into the race itself. Of course, we'll give you a full rundown of the grid as the cars go around on the warm-up lap. And waiting for the last few cars to practice their starts there on the grid. And we'll see how that goes and see how that plays out. So there's 2 seconds. Apparently they're saying that we're not. We're definitely on stream 1, yeah? Apologies for that, people. Those that are watching. I'm having one or two problems. People thinking that the broadcast isn't live, but apparently now we are okay. So apologies for the technical difficulties that we've had. But yes, the track itself, the Hungarian, is some track facts for you before we get the race started. It's a 4.381 kilometre circuit, which translates to 2.722 miles, 70 laps, 306 kilometres, 14 corners, has 4 high-speed stretches, 3 slow turns, 1 ideal spot for overtaking, which is the first corner, a top speed of 315 kilometres an hour. The official lap record in real life is 1 minute 19.071, which was set by Michael Schumacher in 2004 in the Ferrari. The last time these cars actually raced in the Super League was 2008, and the pole time then was set by Mark Wicks in the Woods Racing Renault, 1 minute 15.509, and the fastest lap in the race was 1:14.611, also by Wicks in the Woods Renault. We have restart warm-up. We started warm-up rather, so we can get that going. And just waiting here for. Bear with us for 2 seconds. I just want to double check something on the. Looking at the broadcast screen that I'm seeing here, I'm not quite seeing any on-track action, if I'm perfectly honest.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
There you go. You might have heard the siren there. We've now had the go-ahead to go to the race, so the cars will be on the grid very shortly. Of course, you'll just be hearing audio there, but we're now ready to get this live and go. And there we go. Your pictures should be on screen now. So you have pictures then of Hungarian, and also we'll bring you down the whole grid, as I've said, when the cars are on the grid. So waiting for a pulse as Lucas Euler and Nick Rowland take their spots on the grid, as does the rest of the 26 car field. And a couple of seconds before we start warm up, formation lap, and there goes Lucas Euler then off the front row. So we'll give you a rundown then of the grid for the 2012 GPVWC Super League Hungarian Grand Prix. It is once again Lucas Euler on pole position for Midnight Motorsport. Alongside him, once again in second place, is his teammate Nick Rowland for Midnight Motorsport. Third is Joe Concilio for Nordjern Racing. Fourth is Dave Carl Smith for Green Stripes Racing. Then fifth is Pavel Anowski in the second Nordjern car. Behind him, Simon Cattell for Kerno Sports. Lee Morris is 7th in the drag racing car, with Yanni Tanskanen 8th for Red Archer Racing. 9th is OJ Clark in the Synergetic Motorsports car, and 10th is Ruud Heasterbeek rounding out the top 10. P11 is Tom Parker for Woods Racing, alongside him Bart de Vos in the Hawkeye Racing machine. 13th is Kieran Ryan in the second Woods Racing car, alongside him David Jun in the second Red Archer. Dale Carrick, who's standing in for Ryan Walker for this race for the foreseeable future, is 15th, alongside Mark Stanton in 16th. 17th is Gavin Thomas for Red 5 Racing, with Abel Damgi returning in Nijo Racing. 18th, Liam Hatchell 19th for Synergetic Motorsports. Mark Wicks is 20th. 21st is Lewis Redshaw for Hawkeye Racing. 22nd, David Stanton in the second Constant Racing car. 23rd is Ben Morgan for Red 5 Racing. 24th is Matt Clitt. 25th is Scott Bennett for ST Racing, and Mark Fuller in the second ST Racing rounds out the 26 car grid. Quick. So Lucas Euler then bringing the cars round to the last couple of corners, and one thing which will be key to watch here is if Nick Rowland can get himself that fantastic the same kind of start that he got in Abu Dhabi. He got himself a lightning start to get himself ahead of Lucas Euler into turn 1. And of course, what can the likes consider? And of course, Dave Carl Smith up there in 4th place. He could be a definite dark horse in this event tonight. And also watching the second Nordjern of Pavlovsky, and of course with Simon Cattell, and also you can never count out Lee Morris. He's always one to do great things in an undeveloped car. So seconds to go then, you're looking at the front row of the grid, Euler on your right, Rowland on your left, and we're just about ready to get ready for 70 laps of the Hungarian Grand Prix tonight. And who will get the best start off the line? And 26 cars are ready to throw themselves down to the first corner. So if we're ready, lights will be up soon, the revs are rising, and we are set to go racing in Hungary. And the lights are out and away we go. Good start by Lisa, but a poor start. Oh, I can see it's hit the back of him. Poor start from Euler, and that's bad. And look at that, his front wings everywhere. Poor start from Lucas Euler, and look, he's jumped into the lead. It's Dave Carl Smith has got a fantastic start. He's there. He's leading out of turn 1. Simon Cattell second, and Joe Concilio. That's Lofsky third. Lofsky third, and it's Tanskanen 4th, and Lee Morris is up to 5th. So that was chaos. And possibly it looks like we could have suspension damage for, that's either Euler or Concilio is going to have damage, but Dave Carl Smith, the one that's leading up at turn 4 from Simon Cattell, and then Yanni Tanskanen, Lanoski third, then Tanskanen, then Morris, then Reed Heasterbeek's in there as well, OJ Clark 7th, Parker 8th, Nick Rowlands down to 9th, he got caught up in that melee as well, and Kieran Ryan's 10th. Looking back down to the field to see where the other protagonists are in those axes, Euler's down to 23rd, and 25th is Concilio without a front wing. He actually hit the back of Euler's car, so that was kind of the reverse situation we had in Abu Dhabi, where Concilio was hit from behind by Euler through the turns 4 and 5 chicane. But there's battles going on all the way down the field. I do believe we've lost already Liam Hatchell out of this race, unfortunately. I saw him stranded on the grid. But what a break from Dave Carl Smith already. He's had a massive opportunity here. His first race back in Super League, and he's leading here for Green Stripes Racing. Across the line he comes. Simon Cattell second with Lanoski third. Tanskanen fourth, then Morris. Heasterbeek in sixth. Clark 7th. Parker with Nick Rowland behind him. Down into turn 1, and Rowland's got the place up the inside for 8th place, so he's now Rowland 8th, Parker 9th, and Bart DeVos is 10th in the Hawkeye Racing car, but he's under attack from Kieran Ryan in the second Woods Racing car. Gavin Thomas is 12th, Abel Damgi is 13th, 14th Mark Stanton ahead of his brother David in the two Constant Racing cars. Mark Wick 16th, David Junt 17th, Dale Carrick 18th, Red Shawn 19th, Matt Clip 20th, Mark Fuller 21st and Scott Bennett 22nd. Morgan is in the pits, as is Lucas Euler and Joe Concilio, and of course Liam Hatchell has retired. Coming up through the top chicane, and Carl Smith has now got not very much of a gap then. He's still got Simon Cattell just behind him, and Lanoski as well, so this is a chance for lesser known cars. That's a car off. The car that looked like possibly to me, one of the Hawkeye Racing cars. I think could have been Bart DeVos, I think. That could have been, yeah, it was. Bart DeVos is out. Bart DeVos is out of this race already on lap 2. He looked like he went too wide, took too much speed through the corner, and lost it. And looking through the field, we can see that Lee Morris is looking very racy indeed in his early stages. He's actually on the back of Tanskanen. Good run out of the last corner. He's got a great toe onto the pit straight now. And Lee Morris is looking very racy. He's ready to take 4th place. He's right tucked up under the red Arcturus car. He's got good straight line speed. Down into turn 1. Then he's got the line. And not quite. Tanskanen chops him off, but maintains the position. And also as well, watch out for Nick Rowland, because Rowland is going to be very, very racy indeed. He already sailed up onto the back of Heasterbeek, as Morris now is right on the back of Tanskanen once again. He's glued to the back. And also watch as well, battle for the lead as well, as Simon Cattell is now literally, the front wing of his Kerno sport car is glued to the Green Stripes Racing machine of Dave Carl Smith. This is the next opportunity for him. What has been a pretty poor start for him in the Super Cup season. 3 races and 3 retirements. He didn't race last night in the Super Cup race here, which was run overall by Peter Castle with some brilliant strategy from Rickard Helden and Alex Cooper. But Dave Carl Smith, who's actually the team boss for Midnight Motorsport, is actually ahead of his drivers. And how ironic's that? So this is a great opportunity also for Simon Cattell, who's their car has had some steady developments, and Cattell is a capable driver. I wonder now what opportunity he can make of this. He's actually got a decent, he's actually looking very close, and he possibly could challenge for the lead very soon. Across the line they come, and the gap is now only 4/10 of a second. Then they're pulling a gap now to almost 2 seconds to Lanoski, who's falling back into the clutches of Morris. And Dave's actually gone wide, and now Cattell is now all over the back of him. Look behind as well in 4th place. Tanskanen could relinquish his place to Morris. They're side by side towards turn 2, and Roland's getting in there as well. Roland's gone past Heasterbeek, and it's now a three-way battle for 4th. Tanskanen, Morris, and Rowland. And just keeping an eye on the front 2 as well. And Cattell is again still glued to the back wing of Dave Carl Smith's Green Stripes Racing machine. And it looks as though that the front 9 is now the gap now to Gavin Thomas in 10th, and that was quite a row of line of cars. Update on the protagonists on the first lap. Euler is up to 20th. You can see there's 21st. And Lucas Oil is also fastest lap of the race so far. So could we see another repeat of what he did in Abu Dhabi, where he lost the front wing on the first lap and then charged through to come through to second? We shall wait and see. Meanwhile, Carl Smith still maintaining the gap at the front to Simon Cattell. The gap is roughly now about 4.5 of a second. So these two starting to pull away then. And the gap is now over 2 seconds now to Lanoski. And if he's not careful, he will start to get a bit of a train developing here now. because now behind Onofsky. And also look here, Roland's got a great run out of the last corner. He can pass Morris down into turn one. He's got a great run. Morris goes very defensive. He squeezes him onto the inside of the track, but Roland finds a gap through, and I'm not sure what Roland will have to say about that after the race. Very strict defending there for Morris, but he's made the pass stick, and that's Roland up to 5th. And I'm not quite sure Morris will like that pass either, because he's not quite too keen on the pace of those midnight cars. But nonetheless, he's a fighter. How dominant he was in the first half of the season last year with the updated drag racing car. And looking back at the rest of the top 10 very quickly, Histerbeek is just in 7th. Look at that! Roland already on the inside. He's already on the attack of Tanskanen. Tanskanen attacking up towards the chicane, or under attack, excuse me, from Roland. So Roland looking extremely racy. He's really, I think, is the one to watch so far in this race. He's managed to make, once again, capitalised on the mistakes of Euler and also Concilio, and he's now probably one of the favourites at the moment in terms of pace, overall pace, getting himself a decent result and possibly in contention for a win. The leading two now are kind of not really holding each other up. They're still kind of steadily pulling away now. The gap is now roughly just extended to about, they come across the line now. The gap between the leading two is now just a fraction of the 6. Roland is now on the back of Tanskanen. He's now got a great slipstream. This is a repeat of what he did a lap again. And look at defending. Look at that. Roland goes to the outside. That's borderline defending from Tanskanen. He did some very stringent blocking there. But look at the switchback Roland got. Side by side towards turn 2. Tanskanen has the inside line. Roland goes slightly wide. Morris gets his nose up the inside to try and get past him back in there for 5th. This could be an intriguing battle that could happen between these three. And of course, Onofsky's actually keeping these three at bay. I've said it before and I'll say it again, the harder these three fight each other, the easier it's going to be for Onofsky to make a break, and also, they're falling into the clutches of Histerbeek as well. Histerbeek started 10th, he's up to 7th. Oh, Roland went over the curbs! Look at Histerbeek around the outside of Morris as well! And Morris had to back out, Histerbeek had to back out of that one, excuse me. And also, this has now allowed Clark and Parker to catch up. This track is effectively Monaco without the barriers, and it's certainly showing because the front two are pulling away and not, as we said, not really holding each other up. The gap to them is now 4.5 seconds now to actually Pavel Onofsky. Then we've got this train of cars developing behind Tanskanen, holding in 4th. And Roland seems to be, again, if he can stay where he is now and tag on, and again, just keep on the back of that Red Archer car as he probably seems to do, with the awesome grip this thing has. Now the front straight, this is his second chance again. And maybe Roland will be a lot more strict here. He's been a lot more daring. Look at the fence up to the outside then. And again, there's going to be a chance to switch back once again. As behind there, I just saw Clark up the inside of Histerbeek. He's made the move stick. And Roland's also just passed Tanskanen as well. So Roland's up to 4th. He did get the switch back out of turn 1. And he's now going to have the chance to get himself into a podium place. Now, he'll have the chance to pass Pavel Onofsky. And also just behind as well, we've got Clark and Histerbeek battling, and Clark's gone through just before turn 4. Brilliant move by the synergetic driver. And Histerbeek now's got to be careful. Oh no, OJ's gone. OJ and Histerbeek come together. I think that was a result of Clark spun and left Histerbeek with nowhere to go. Both have lost their front wings. I reckon Clark will have suspension damage as well, significant suspension damage from that impact. Histerbeek will have to crawl round without a front wing. Now whether he has suspension damage from that contact as well, we'll have to wait and see. But there's not short of drama here already in this race. The Parker's now up to 7th. And Roland already, he's now onto the back of Onofsky. It's only taken him a lap. Or not even a lap rather, it's taking about half a lap to be honest. So this is now for 3rd, and this is deja vu for us. This is exactly the same situation. Much better drive out of turn 1 and just on pure straight line speed. Or not quite, had to duck back in again to hit the toe, and once again, now 3rd time lucky he'll get it done into turn 1. He certainly does. Or does he? Onofsky, he's trying hard to defend him, but unfortunately, the end result is Roland uses the superiority of the Midnight Machine to get past. Now his next task is to try and eat into the gap, which both Carsmith and Cattell have managed to eke out. So these two then, I wonder how they're going to fare. Will they be in contention, possibly, for podium place? Because it's all going to be... The driver to watch now is Nick Rowland, because Nick Rowland now... And Rowland was actually 2 tenths of a lap quicker than the two cars in front, and he was actually caught up in traffic, so that's just how quick this Midnight car is, especially in the hands of Nick Rowland. A very, very quick update on how the two guys who actually had a bit of trouble at the start. Oilers already up to 15th and setting very quick lap times, and also you can see there's only made it as far as 18th. And Dave Cosmith's in the pits. So is this an early stop, or is it a problem? So this could be an early stop then. Could it be strategy, or the fact that he's... This could be a problem, Carl Smith. Has he possibly refueled it to not enough fuel at the start, possibly? Whatever's happened, in the pits it's costing. Apparently the replay that we've been told by one of our by cameraman Simon Miller-ish, apparently we've been told that what's actually happened is that Dave Cosmith's actually hit a wheel. He's hit a wheel, and he hit a wing, and also they've gone off flat tyres. That's what's caused it. So Dave Smith has actually had to relinquish the lead. Exited back out in 7th ahead of Gavin Thomas and Mark Stanton. And now it's all going to be about just how quick can Roland catch off the back of Simon Cattell. Now Cattell's got an opportunity to lead for the first time in the GPVWC event in terms of Super League. And the gap's really coming. Look at that from the last sector. Roland, I believe, it just took about 0.6 of a second out of Cattell in that sector alone. And also the battle for P4. Tanskanen is now in a sandwich between Orlovsky and Morris. I think Morris will be keen to try and get himself past as quickly as possible to try and chase after Roland. And also he has to relinquish Orlovsky as well. The gap's now down to 3.7 seconds at the front, so Roland is taking chunks out of Cattell's advantage at the moment. And it seems that at the moment Cattell is powerless to do anything, as Morris has a little bit of a look on the inside of turn 1 towards Tanskanen. With Orlovsky in 4th place. And then Morris very, very close to the back rear wing of Tanskanen's car then, as he just swing down through turn 2 and then back through turn 3 off the uphill section of turn 4. And Roland's actually has only managed to pull about a 10th in the first sector to Cattell, so possibly Cattell has got hit. He needs to get a hurry on. He's now trying to put his foot down a bit, but I think ultimately, in some ways, the Midnight Car will probably prevail eventually. We're going to look at the split as they come through the second sector. Cattell's coming up to it now. They're looking a lot closer. 2.5 seconds! That is unbelievable. Roland has taken over a second out of Cattell in that sector alone. This is an unbelievable drive from Nick Roland. He looks odds on at the moment now to win this race once again. But never count out Euler, because look at that already. 9 laps in, and unbelievably, he's now caught up in traffic. He's already 12th, and he's got both Mark Wicks and David Stanton ahead of him, and he's caught up in this train of cars. He's also got David Stanton and Gavin Thomas, so very, very soon he could be up as high as 8th. And he's passed Mark Wicks on the inside, up towards the end of Sector 2. Now he's got the 2 constant cars with the Stanton brothers, Mark and David. So this is again, literally an simply unbelievable comeback drive from Euler once again. We saw this in Abu Dhabi, where he just stormed through the field. This is again, remember, Euler has also pitted. Here goes Euler on the inside of David Stanton. This will be to get back into the points, and he does make it stick. But Euler this is now lap 11, and he's now up into the points. That is simply staggering. As with Joe Concilio is only back down in 16th. So possibly he might still be carrying damage from that instant off the line. But that's quite confusing. Concilio's pace is now considerably dropped off. I think possibly could be still suffering with damage, maybe. But up at the front, and Roland and Euler is just passing turn 5, passing around the outside of Mark Stanton in turn 5. Now his target is Gavin Thomas, and already intimidating him very much. And look at that pass on the inside. That's very dangerous. Oh. That's a bit of an uncharacteristic move from Euler. You don't really see passes that aggressive from Lucas Euler. And oh, look at that, Stanton's coming back. And Lee's also passed Pavel. And it's getting very messy in the battle for 9th. As yes, just to update, Morris has now passed Pavlovsky, but they're both past Pavlovsky, both Tanskanen and Morris. Euler now with the opportunity to now. This will be an easy pass there down the straight. Get up to 8. He's in the slipstream already, and just on pure straight line speed. Look, Gavin Thomas is getting very He's really defending that 8th place. This guy practically in the middle of the road. But Euler finds the inside line to turn 1, or does he? It's Thomas finds the grip on the outside of the track and he maintains 8th. Excellent stuff from Gavin Thomas. Holding off the current champion. Oh no! That's disaster! Euler has hit the back of Gavin Thomas's car. Gavin Thomas is off without a wheel. And Euler is once again he's now without a front wing. This is a disaster once again for Euler. How's he going to come back from this? He's still holding 8th, but he's gone wide. Stanton's gone past him. Dale Carrick goes past him. David Stanton goes past him. Also, so will David Jutt and Lewis Redshaw. Once again, disaster for Lucas Euler. This is not the Hungarian Grand Prix he envisioned. From pole to this in the space of about 12 or 13 laps. So we'll have to keep updated on that. And look at Concilio. Concilio's probably going to spot that. He goes round the outside. So there it goes. Meanwhile, up at the front, runners alongside Cattell for the lead. He's literally side by side. Is he going to go around the outside? Roland will be unaware what's happened. He does the switch back and he's through. Nick Rowland takes the lead of the Hungarian Grand Prix at turn 3 on the beginning of lap 13. And he'll be unaware, I presume, unless the team have told him already on the radio, that Euler has suffered a massive setback once again. And he's made it back. He's into pit road now. But he's 14th. And with the cars behind him, this is probably going to take quite a while. He could possibly drop back down to last again, to 20th. Because that's both 5 racing cars out of the race now, with Thomas and Morgan out. Abel Damke's out of the race, as well as that was with suspension damage. Kieran Ryan blew his engine. And Bart DeVos is out as well with a DNF, and also Liam Hatchell at the start with the accident. Euler's back out now, he's down to 19th. Al Bennett's out as well. Scott Bennett's lost his front wing. Now, that was interesting because he's out on the exit of the second sector, and he's struck pretty much in the middle of the track. He's not going again, but I only caught the end of that. I didn't see exactly who he hit or what happened. But that was quite an intriguing incident to what happened there. Apparently we're told he went wide, hit a bump, and spun across the track, so that's what lost in the wheel. But just in front of Morris and Concilio in the lights. And apparently Simon and Nick have crashed. Simon and Nick have crashed, so let's have a look. Simon's in the pits and so is Roland. It's all going on here in Hungary. Now the lead is now Jarni Tanskanen. The positions are changing everywhere. Tanskanen now leads. Milowski second, Parker third. Morris is in the pits as well. He suffered some damage as well in that as well. I'm not quite sure. Was that a scheduled stop? It might have been a scheduled stop. Could be on a 3-stop strategy. And Cattell is out of the pits, but he's got some smoke in his engine. And Nick's back out of the. No, that's what happened. Looking back, just got some info. That's how Bennett. That's what happened. Bennett took out Simon Cattell, and in the process, obviously, Nick got caught up behind it, lost his front wing. So it's all going wrong for the Midnight Motorsport cars. Well, Ryan's now back out in 5th, but he's now 18 seconds off the leader Tanskanen. And Euler's back up to 16th, with Concilio 18th. So he's now just stopped for his first scheduled stop, I imagine. So, through all this, Tanskanen finds himself in the plum seat. He's the 2010 champion, returning after a year's sabbatical. And look where it's found him. He's found himself in first, with Milowski holding the reins for Nordjern, second. And Dave Smith's actually up to third, despite the accidents, but only on lap 15. Good battle for 6th between Cattell and Morris. Morris is now on the back of Cattell. Down towards turn 1, good toe from Morris. And again, it's the ideal passing spot. Looks to the inside. Last of the late breakers, and Morris is down into 6th, down the inside of Cattell. So it's certainly not a short of drama. We've had pretty much quite a few lead changes in terms of because Dave Smith then hit a front wing and then had to stop in the pits whilst in the lead. Then we had Simon Cattell took over the lead, and then Nick Rowland caught him and passed him. Then both of them got caught up against it with Scott Bennett, and both had to stop to the pits. And now Tanskanen finds himself in the lead, 2.4 seconds ahead of Milowski, with Dave Smith possibly closing in a little bit by bit. The gap's about 1.3 seconds, and I think he's possibly closing. Up a 9th place gone between Dale Carrick in the second drag racing car. He's gone very deep into the chicane, and Stanton tries to pull alongside. And Dale Carrick, remember, he's one of the test drivers for drag racing. He stepped in for Ryan Walker, who, if anyone read the announcement on GPVWC.com, that Ryan Walker's had to step down from drag racing in terms of racing, so it will be his story. And also Dale Carrick as well. So you can sort of see in my feed here as well that the actually in-game steward has awarded a stop-and-go penalty to Lucas Euler. Now, I'm not quite sure what that's for. Could be speeding in the pit lane, but whether or not the race directors... it's a stop-go penalty, we think, for the collision with Thomas. So, if things do not get any easier for the Midnight Motorsport cars, because Euler, start for second, we've just been told. And it's now, Lofsky now has Dave Carl-Smith over the back, and we did see he was getting closer and closer. But Tanskin is now being able to actually maintain this gap, but we've still got the second place battle here as Carl with a great run, Smith with a great run out of the exit into sector 2, and Lofsky's laying through. I think possibly that could have been due to the fact that he didn't want to put up too much of a fight, and at least he wants to bring the car home, blaming the fact that what's happened to everyone else. And Tanskin's in. Tanskin is into the pits. Tanskin's into the pits for his first pit stop. So Dave Carl-Smith retakes the lead. Quite everything that's happened. Lofsky second. Gustav as well. We don't usually see this. Tom Parker's up to third in the Woods racing car. That's not a bad effort from him. I think Roland moves past Tanskin as he stops, so he's now fourth. Tanskin will look like he will exit back out in fifth. But Morris is now on the pit straight. This is going to be close. Tanskin exits. Morris is almost up to turn 1. But Tanskin has enough of a gap and he just gets out in front of Morris. So it's kind of that situation all over again. These two will be battling. As Carl Smith then now has a 1.4 second gap over Lofsky, but of course he'll be able to definitely try and increase that. Well, it's still going around in 12, so whether or not he still has to service stop-go penalty, we're not quite sure. Whether or not he's been made aware of it. And that, look, Euler's slowed. I'm seeing here, Euler's slowing. Euler's going very slow indeed. He's slowed up. There's Lee and let's have a look. And Morris and Tanskin and the thing have collided. That's brought Cattell into it as well. So Cattell's now down to 7, and Cattella's now following. He's now on. Well, his tyres. There's so much going on. I'm trying to keep track of this. Morris is now has Cattell in the back of him for 5th. Morris is now trying to do his best to try and keep himself out of trouble. But what we've seen so far, that may be quite difficult. As we've got Anowski's in the pits. So is Tom Parker. And as Morris and Cattell and Tanskin come off the pit straight, so Roll is now up to 2nd. Carl Smith leading there. He has a 7.2 second gap over Carl Smith. How long that will last, it remains to be seen. Cattell's gone past, go around the outside of Morris. Oh, and Morris had to squeeze him out. But still, Morris is now holding station in 3rd place. Again, more defending he's going to do now this time from Cattell. And Euler's in, so I think Euler's now in for his stop and go penalty, I just noticed. So this is for him to serve his penalty. Now, I need to have a look and see if it is a scheduled stop. No, it is a stop and go penalty. The car hasn't gone up on the jacks. So it is his stop and go penalty. So, very eventful race for Lucas Euler. It's not the one not the one he envisioned. Keep a track on the gap between the two leaders now. Roland's now taken, since the end of the last lap, taken a second out of Roland's, of Carl Smith, excuse me. And behind that, Morris still holding 3rd place ahead of Cattell. We'll do a quick run down the top 10 then, on lap number 19 now. So it's Dave Carl Smith leading. Now, 5.8 seconds now ahead of Nick Roland with Lee Morris 3rd, just ahead of Cattell. Well, that could change hands very quickly with Tanskin in 5th, Malowski 6th, Parker 7th, Stanton 8th, Carrick 9th, Carrick's up to 9th, Ricky Speak now running out the top 10. Cattell darts out, has a bit of a look up the inside of Morris for turn 1, but isn't quite close. He's far up alongside, didn't get as much of a toe as he wanted. But Morris is doing well to hold this position as Roland continues to cut into the lead. Dave Carl Smith once again, taking another 4/10 of a second out of that one. And I imagine that possibly Carl Smith and Roland. Now they've had to stop and take a pit. So I wonder if they switch their strategies maybe, and they're going to run a bit longer now they've had to come into the pits. Could also apply for Cattell as well. Morris hasn't yet stopped. Either there's Dale Carrick or Ruud Heasterbeek as far as I'm aware. And Carrick is doing well to hold off Heasterbeek, although... just correction, Morris has apparently stopped, so apologies for that misinformation. But still, gap is now down to 4.7 seconds between Carl Smith and Roland. Now making that 4.2 as Roland goes across the line. So Roland is now getting the hammer down as Carl Smith laps Mark Fuller in the ST Racing car, the sole remaining ST Racing. Oh, have a look. Now Scott Bennett is still running, albeit a lap down and quite far behind. But nevertheless, still seems to be spread out fairly, although we still have that battle for third going between Morris and Cattell, with Tanskanen just hanging in there in fifth. So if there is any potential fireworks between these two, then obviously he can capitalise. And I think Carrick... No, hold on. Oh, there's battle. Carrick's into the pits. He stops from 8th place as Heasterbeek goes past. Julio is now up to 10th place ahead of OJ Clark, so he's now trying to continue his charge up to the field after losing his front wing on the back of Euler's car at the start. Now ahead at the expense of OJ Clark with the two Stanton brothers, 12th and 13th. And now increasing the pressure now on Dave Carl Smith, gaps down to 3.6 seconds, so it's only going to be a matter of when rather than if Roland's going to catch him, because the pace of that Midnight Motorsport car is evident for all to see. As we've already seen in the first few races, obviously, with the victories they've scored. Let's look at the gap as they come onto the pit straight now. Start lap 22, 3.1 seconds. So he's taking a few tenths out of Carl Smith per sector rather than per lap. The battle now, Cattell once again almost on the back of Morris's car. And Morris did tell me that that car is actually struggling a little bit with rear end traction. Seems to be doing alright at the moment with the setup they've got on the car. Definitely keeping the Kerno Sport car at bay. And we're just starting to drop Tanskanen a little bit. He seems to be just stagnated a bit in 5th place there. He's not really able to make any inroads. Zanosky's also in close contention there. He's about 3 seconds behind Tanskanen. Parker's only 2 seconds, but roughly about just under 3 seconds behind Zanosky. Tito is now obviously with Carrick having stopped, he's now up to 9th. So Tito is like we've got both Nordjern cars in the points. And that's the only team I can see at the moment that has both of their team cars in the points, which is quite impressive for them. So despite everything that's gone on, Euler, we're tracking his progress, is trying to charge up back through the field, and he is now 16th. He's just putting another lap on Scott Bennett. He's currently running 20th and a lap down on the leaders. And Roland closes ever further, now gaps down to 2 seconds. Pretty much 2.071 to be exact. And look, Cattell's got a great one on Morris this time. Down the pit straight, Morris is now going to be in trouble. Cattell, he goes defensive. Cattell goes to the outside. Morris has to hold the inside line. They almost touch wheels. But Cattell will definitely get the switch back, I should imagine, if he can get good run out of the hairpin. Morris has got better traction though. And he sticks with 3rd place. Cattell will not be done with that. He's literally almost touching the rear wing of that Drake racing car. Stays with it through turn 3. And now up towards turn 4 as they sweep. This is a very fast left-hander. You have to be careful on the exit, you don't take too much runoff. Cattell is putting Morris under some major pressure. Morris is very experienced in sim racing, he knows how to deal with pressure. And he's definitely not going to make it easy for Cattell, as we've seen, with his stringent defending there. And look at this, actually up at the front. Carl Smith is actually caught up in traffic, and Roland is now right on the back of him. And this could be ominous, this could be about to change for the lead very, very soon. Down the pit straight, the gap is at only 4/10 of a second. You can see it, they're literally almost nose to tail down the pit straight. Roland's in the tow. I think in the next couple of corners, if he gets some good traction, Carl Smith will be a sitting duck. Look, he's all over him already. Up towards turn 2. Has a look, we send it up the inside. The answer is yes, he will. And Carl Smith holds the outside line. We keep the inside line for turn 3. Yes, he does. But he now knows he's now under major pressure then from Nick Rowland. as they fly through turn 4. They've got back markers ahead. That's Mark Wicks in the second Kerno Sport Car. Now he moves out the way very quickly. Carl Smith takes him. Roland takes him. Now they're through the turn 6 and 7 chicane. Very tight chicane with huge curves on the inside, huge bumps on the inside. Just quickly looking at Morris and Cattell, still no Cattell, so it's very close for the battles for first and third. And I reckon Roland, if he can stick on the rear wing of Dave Carl Smith's car just here, then and get a good exit out of the last corner, he will have a chance to take him onto the pit straight. It's a very tight inside line as Roland. Cosmo was a bit wider. It's all about this exit out of the last corner here. Here they go through here. Now how close is Roland here? He's very close indeed. This should be enough, I think. Down the pit straight. Much better toe. Better straight line advantage. Up the inside. Last of the late breakers. Into turn 1. And yes. Roland takes the lead then once again. From Dave Carl Smith. Now I think it will be a case of Roland set to pull away. Roland went actually a bit wide through turn 2. And that's big twitch from Dave Carl Smith out of there and then through turn 3. And meanwhile, Morris and Cattell are still fighting over third. Morris is having a bit of a look up the outside into through turn 2, but again he's right tucked under the gearbox of that Mercedes-powered drag car. Mercedes versus Audi. Battle of the German engine manufacturer. Look at Cattell looking around the outside. He's over the curve. They both go wide through turn 5, and Cattell again, literally. He's got the front of that Kerno Sport Car shoved up under the gearbox of Morris's drag Mercedes. You're really giving Morris the hurry up here, but Morris knows that he's using this very twisty and tight nature to his advantage. He's using that to keep Cattell at bay, but he knows he's vulnerable down the front straight up towards turn 1. From there onwards, it makes it very, very difficult to pass. The first couple of corners are the best passing opportunities. From there, it's a very, very, very tight and difficult circuit to pass on. Casilio is up to 8th. We're just checking, and Euler's already back up to 13th. He's on the pit straight. And Tell's a bit close now, out of the last corner. And Roland has already extended that black gap to 1.5 seconds. Cattell again darts out and has a look up the inside of Morris, but Morris is far enough ahead just to keep him at bay and keep his third place. In fact, Tanskanen now he's out fallen a little bit into the clutches of Lofsky. Lofsky's at only 1.6 points. We closed in bit by bit as Roland now starts to extend his lead bit by bit. It's now 2.1 seconds now over Dave Carl Smith. Great stuff from DCS returning to the series after took one race win for Midnight Motorsport last year at Monaco after the likes of Morris and Casilio got caused of an accident, and Jason Muscat as well for Red Archer Racing. They all got caused of an accident at the swimming pool, and Dave Carl Smith took his only win. He's a Monaco specialist. One wonders if he'll be in the driving seat for Monaco possibly, but one person he definitely will be Lee Morris. He's determined to win at Monaco. Cal swarming all over the back of him once again. It's interesting to see what Morris's thoughts are on this this pressure that Cattell's applying. And Cattell is actually getting look at that, he's much closer. This is a great run he's got now. Again, it seems to be that just about Morris has got the straight line speed. Cattell, it can be in the toe he likes, but he can't. His Dave Carl Smith just pitted, so he's in the pits now. He's exiting in 4th, and he comes out just behind that battle for what is now 2nd place. But of course, Morris and Cattell will still have to stop again. So he's now sandwiched between Cattell in 3rd, Tanskanen in 5th. He's actually not too far behind him. And actually, Lofsky has actually been closing in. The gap's now down to 1.1 seconds. So Tanskanen is now definitely falling back into Casilio's clutches. And also Tom Parker, bit of a no man's land in 7th place. Been as high as 3rd, of course, but doing well to stay there. And there's a big gap to Casilio, who's just exiting out of the first corner. Easter Beak now coming on the final corner ahead of Mark Stanton, and behind Stanton is Lucas Euler, surprise surprise, and he sweeps past him on the pit straight to move back into the points. So far Euler has his close comeback once again, second comeback of the race, that resulted in him, well, essentially he's already had to stop 3 times. Once to repair the damage after the first lap, then wants to repair the front wing, then again to make his stopping a penalty, and that's not even really he's probably changed his strategy to go a bit longer. Nevertheless, still soldiering on. Cattell again on the back of Morris. Morris goes defensive on the inside line, and he's got his teammate Dale Carrick, who will be, is a lap behind. He's got him just in front, so I wonder what part he's going to play in this, if any. And Cattell literally is putting him under some really stringent, really tough pressure. Looks again to the outside through turn 2, and again Morris literally look, Cattell literally has got that gearbox shoved on. He's got alongside him now. Oh, and was there contact there? I'm not quite sure, but I think Cattell had to back out of that one. But he got Morris very quick over the bump. So Cattell looks up the inside into the chicane, but thinks better of it, and now he's got Dave Carl Smith to contend with, because now he's just sailed up the back. His tyres now up to temperature, and he now is looking racy and to get himself into third. Essentially because these two haven't stopped yet, and of course Roland hasn't either really. This is effectively, it's a net second place, but I'm sure he'll enjoy the battling. But at the same time he'll want to clear these two as quickly as possible and hope they pit soon, because he wants to try and keep his advantage. As Takeoff Smith goes up the inside, and he's past Simon Cattell, so how's that going to affect things? And Morris is in, so Morris is now into the pits, so he dives in for his, what I believe is his second stop of the race. Looks like we could be seeing some drivers four-stopping in terms of tyre strategy. Haskell goes through to take over 4th. Malowski goes to 5th. Parker will go up to 6th as Morris now heads out now, and he'll come up comfortably ahead of Joe Concilio. So, because he hasn't even ran the final corner yet, he's now going through the second to last corner. And Roland's gap now is 19.1 seconds to Dave Carl Smith. So remember, Roland still has to make his second stop. So he stopped once for the contact he made with Simon Cattell and Scott Bennett in that incident he got it caught up in. And Concilio is now in the pits, and he now exits effectively, and he will exit now. May just hold 8th, but Heasterbeek and resurgent Lucas Euler coming up behind him. And yes, Concilio has just about done it. Into turn 1 he goes, on his cold tyres, as Euler looms large in Heasterbeek's mirrors. Now, of course, I wonder if Cattell will hit the stops now. Mark Wicks is in. I think possibly because of that, Cattell will go around for possibly a few more laps. We'll see when he decides to do pit. As Nick Rowland is coming up to lap David Stanton, one of the constant racing cars. So it seems to be now the gap between Tanskanen and Malowski in 4th and 5th seems to have kind of gone a bit static. It's now gone to probably now about a second. So Tanskanen now is at least doing enough to keep Malowski at bay. Parker doesn't really seem to be making very many inroads in that Woods Racing Honda. Morris is now he's comfortably ahead of Concilio now, of course. As Euler now looking to snatch 9th from Heasterbeek now as they come through the second to last corner. I should imagine that he'll do it very, very soon. That probably could be here. Much tighter line through the last corner into the slipstream. Heasterbeek, I think, is powerless. He'll try to go to the inside, but no, he's not even bothering ready to defend. Excuse me. As Euler goes up the inside, he goes up to 9th. So his next target, of course, is Joe Concilio. But of course, Concilio, remember, of course, he has fresher tyres, so I wonder how he'll deal with that when he comes up to pass him. Interestingly enough, looking at the gaps, I think either Roland got caught up in traffic, or it's the advantage of fresher tyres, because Carl Smith he is actually starting to eat into Roland's lead, so it's now roles reversed. Carl Smith on his fresher tyres is now getting the hammer down, and he's doing his best that he can to bring down that gap to the leading Roland. So could we possibly see, not to possibly jinx it, but could we possibly see Dave Carl Smith and his return to Super League take a race victory in what effectively is, as it's known, Monaco without the barriers? He is a Monaco specialist. No reason why he can't do the same thing here in Hungary. That'll be 17.8 seconds. He's only just ahead of Simon Cattell in 3rd. And this could be a great result for Simon Cattell as well. This could be great for him. Could be a great chance for him to score himself a podium. Got a decent 5-second gap to Tanskanen. As Losky still continues to close. Gap is now gone to under a second, with Parker now 3 seconds behind them. Morris a further 4 seconds behind Parker. Things starting to get a little bit starting to pan out a little bit, to spread out a little bit more. As now across the line goes rolling through turn 1. Carl Smith now comes onto the pit straight, and now got his gap now down to 17 seconds exactly. So that's pretty decent stuff. And Carl Smith trying to just reduce that gap down to Roland's pit stop. But of course the pit stops are fairly quick, so not too bad. Cattell has now hit the stops. He's in from 3rd. So Tanskelen goes through for 3rd. Losky goes through for 4th. Park goes through for 5th. Morris takes 6th. So that's that. And obviously Cattell will join 7th, just ahead of his teammate Mark Wicks, who is a lap down. So, and Roland has lapped everyone up to Mark Stanton. So he's up to the 2 constant cars. So he's lapped everyone up to 10th. Ricky Stavik is his next target, who is a little bit away. In fact, obviously he's got the second. Obviously, of course, still the other midnight car of Euler to try and tail. Carl Smith presses on. Look, he took 8. Look at that. Carl Smith on fresher tyres has taken the gap down by 3/4 of a second to 8/10. And Roland still hasn't pitted yet. So I think some inside information that apparently Roland was going to try something a little bit special. He's going to try a bit of an interesting strategy. So I wonder possibly if he's possibly contemplating a 1-stop strategy, or maybe even a 2. Gap's now down by a further 10th to 15.9. We're going to have to watch with interest here as to what exactly Roland is planning to do here, as he's now coming up to halfway through the half distance in this race. And of course, different drivers and different strategies. It's all been interesting to see how it plays out. Wolowski's still getting ever closer now to Tanskelen. Gap's now 8/10 of a second, so he's just taking time here and there, a couple of hundredths here and there, just to close in. But that said, Tanskelen looking a little bit nervous there, as Wolowski's now right onto the back. This could be a battle now for 3rd place. To sweep through up towards the chicane now. Turn 5 and turn 6 and 7. The gap between them is actually half a second, so that could be an interesting battle to watch. Also, we've got Parker now has Lee Morris now coming off the back, and that's gap for that was 1.1 seconds. Morris is on fresher tyres, of course. This could be a much better advantage that he's going to have. Also, just constantly watching the gaps between everyone up at the front. Carl Smith now comes onto the start-finish straight, passes Lewis Redshaw. Gap down to 15.5 seconds. So, surely Roland will see this, and he'll have to try and put the hammer down as best he can. Maybe he's being quite conservative with the tyres. Maybe his setup is more tyre-friendly, and possibly trying just to conserve them, keep at a steady pace. Hope that the fact that he's possibly contemplating stopping less will play out in the long run. Gap's now still at 15.5 seconds. So through the first sector, used to be that Roland has the pace. They're pretty even through the first sector. Then through sectors 2 and 3, where Carl Smith finds the time. And of course, with it being a very tight, twisty track and going through back markers, that's never an easy task, as Carl Smith negotiates Mark Fuller. Then he's got Ode Clark to deal with, using 13th. This is interesting, and Tanskelen now has got, looking back at 3rd, Tanskelen now has Losky all over him. Now then, I wonder here, because Losky's actually been looking very racy and doing well to lead the North Zone charge at the moment, which is probably was of course expected to be done by Concilio. As Losky looks up the inside, bit of wheel banging there, but Tanskelen holds their place. He keeps filming the inside. Sure, Losky will try and do the switchback, or at least try and get a run onto the pit straight. And look at Morris as well. Morris has cleared Tom Parker, and he's now sailing onto the back of these two as well. So it's these three all over again. Tanskelen, Losky and Morris. Now, Morris, of course, is on fresher tyres. He's using that to his advantage. And we'll see him jump up possibly into a potential 3rd place if he can do that. But I think Roland, also I think we just missed Roland has also stopped. Because Dave Carl-Smith is now in the lead, but only by 2.2 seconds. That could be interesting, of course. Now the tables have turned again. Roland is now on the fresher tyres, cold tyres nonetheless, and he's also caught in traffic behind OJ Clark. So that's going to be quite interesting to see how that plays out. And so now Morris, look at this. Morris is now in 5th place. He's now having to attack Loloski. So now Loloski's gone from one extreme to the other. And we've seen this a few times this year in both races like the Super Cup and the Formula Challenge and also the Super League. It's a catch-22 situation for the driver in the middle, because not only has he got to focus on trying to attack Tanskanen, he's got to defend from Morris. And we know how racing Morris can be. He darts out a couple of times to try and distract Loloski. He goes round the outside. Morris up the inside into the penultimate last corner. He's made it stick. Wonderful pass from Lee Morris. What a pass that was. Tanskanen heads to the pits. So Morris now takes 3rd place. And Parker's also slipped, and Parker's in the pits as well, so he's gone to pits from 7th. Cattell got through after a apparent mistake from Parker, which then got him through. And, oh, that's interesting. The 2 Red Archer cars had to stack, so and Tanskanen came in pretty much, well, they were in the line of stern, so. Looking now at the gaps then, Morris is now going to try and pull away as much as he can from Tanskanen and try and see if he can cement a 3rd place. The Red Archers did pit together. The Red Archers did pit together on that lap. Hopefully he wouldn't have cost him too much time. And we are just about coming up to half distance now. As Nick Rowland, Dave Carl-Smith rather, rounds the final corner to make it half distance. And we'll give you a rundown then of the current top 10 as it stands. As it stands right now, Dave Carl-Smith is your leader, just now by 1.6 seconds from Nick Rowland in 2nd place. 3rd is Elite Lee Morris, 18 seconds behind the leader. He's around the final corner. Loloski is now 4th, and he now heads to the pits. That will now push 4th back to Simon Cattell. So it now will be Cattell 4th and Loloski 5th. Guy Tanskanen is now 6th. And catching him now is Joe Concilio in the 2nd of the Norwegian cars. Tom Parker is now 8th. And Ricky Stabik is 9th with Lucas Euler still on his fight back, rounding out the top 10. Interesting to see that I think possibly Euler could possibly been caught. Either he's still suffering some damage from his adventures in the first half of the race. We would not see him charge up for the field like he did in Abu Dhabi, probably because he's had more problems than he had than just one collision with Joe Concilio. To recap, for anyone that's just joined or was unaware, Euler got a poor start. Hit from behind by Joe Concilio, which lost Concilio, which caused Concilio to lose his front wing. Then when Euler was attempting to get past Gavin Thomas, he then lost his front wing again, and that also lost Gavin Thomas's rear wheel. Then caused him to pit again, and then because of that incident, Euler then got himself handed a stop-go penalty to further add to his misery. But he's already stopped 3 times this race, and I think. And quick going back to that for the lead. And it's now Carl-Smith. Now defending from Rowland once again. So this is now a repeat of what we saw a few laps ago. And this is actually interesting because, of course, remember, Dave Carl-Smith is the team manager of Midnight Motorsport. So essentially, it's team manager versus team driver. And of course, we've already seen how they battled once, and how Rowland managed to get himself up the inside and pass. Whether there was some leniency in that one, and possibly whether Carl-Smith was, in some ways, allowed Rowland to, or maybe made it easier, shall we say, for Rowland to get past. I'll not dwell on that too much, but of course we've got this intriguing battle I believe we're going to have once again between Carl-Smith and Rowland. Gap is now just under 6/10 of a second, so getting closer and closer. Of course, at the end of the day, they're different teams. So, of course, they're going to be racing against each other regardless of the fact that they do also work in the same team as well. Bit straight. And Rowland will now have a look. Gap is now just under 4/10 of a second. Rowland now pulls out onto the inside. And possibly try. I think what he possibly could be trying to do There could be a tactic. We see some drivers do that, where they kind of move to the inside of the track, and they could be possibly trying to clean that part of the track to make it easier for them to pass. So obviously, if they get more grip, it's not going to be as dusty and full of marbles or full of dirt. It'll be a cleaner part of the racetrack. When he goes to make that pass, he'll have as clean a part of the track as possible, so he can then make the overtake. One example I remember of that is when Michael Schumacher, back in Portugal '95, at the Estoril circuit, tried that. It was went to the inside behind Damon Hill for a few times to try and clean that part of the track. Then made the move into what was like the very tight uphill kind of double hairpin chicane section, and made the move stick up there. So that could be the same tactic Roland's applying, but still he's getting very close. Gap is now still 3/10 of a second, but it's much closer than that as far as you can see. And this could be now. Just see how much tighter that Roland can keep that car on the inside line. And car spins in again, so it's another scheduled stop for him. Now this will be interesting. This will be interesting to see just how much longer Roland runs on this set of tyres, as Roland does retake the lead and sweeps across the line to start lap 39. And of course, this will be interesting because Carl Smith exits the pits, but Morris onto the pit straight, and he's not too far behind. He's laps had a few times to bed in, as has Simon Cattell's. And of course, interesting enough, it's also worth noting that Lenoski has in the pit stops has leapfrogged Tanskanen. So Lenoski's up to 5th. Tanskanen is now up to 6th. Is now down to 6th rather. And also just behind him, well, 2 cars away from him, from Tanskanen, is Joe Consiglio. And of course, Consiglio has now got to negotiate and lap Tanskanen teammate, Swiss driver David Junt, which he does now. And then he's got to get past Mark Wicks in the second sport car. Wicks himself, just very quickly, is 15th and a lap down on the leader, Nick Rowland. I'm sure with blue flags he'll get past them very easily, as he does there. Up the inside, Consiglio then. His next target, of course, is for that 6th place. It is for position. See how he gets on. Of course, just ahead of him, of course, as well, is his teammates. This is an interesting fight back for Consiglio. I reckon the likes of Euler and Consiglio have then gone for a longer strategy, trying to make that work to try and get to the field, and using their raw pace alone that they have to just really haul themselves back up. Again, it's that situation where Carl Smith, on his fresher tyres, well, he lost a couple of tenths in that last sector. And also I wonder if also Cattell is once again catching Morris. This could be that battle for 3rd all over again. That was the 2nd as they went across the line. Start what is lap 40. And Euler's about to pass Easterbeek for 9th. All over him. More overtaking from the midnight cars. His championship leader. Down the inside he goes. But not quite. Easterbeek covers him. Euler will be determined to get as many points as he can from this situation. He's only in 10th. Only netting 1 point, as Easterbeek dives into the pits anyway. Euler carries on his very weight and takes 9th as the Nijo Racing car Dutchman Easterbeek hits the stops. Gap is coming back down at the front again. It's back down to 16.9 seconds. So Carl Smith again trying to, is that situation on the fresher tyres. He's trying to close in. Hell is also again closing on Morris. That gap is now down to at the last sector 0.8 of a second. It's looking a little bit closer this time around as they go through the final corner. Gap's now 16.8 between Roland and Carl Smith. It looks like really a little bit static. It looks like Roland's found his groove on these tyres, which are worn a little bit. Gap is now just 0.6 of a second. A further 0.2 out of that last sector. You can tell he closes under braking into turn 1. Then Lenoski still trundling around in 5th. And also, watch out the battle for 6th, because Tanskanen now has Consiglio sailing up to the back of his red Archer car. That's probably going to be an imminent overtake there as well. Of course, these guys will have another stop to make as well as they down towards turn 2. Just quickly jumping to 4th as we're kind of going all over the place a bit, but there are 1 or 2 intriguing battles going on down here. We've got Tel right on the back of Morris again. Concilio is also, of course, again on the back of Tanskin as they now go through turn 6 and 7, the top chicane. Hard to really see where to look, to be honest, but let's just quickly get a bit of structure here. Cosmic goes across the line, gaps down by another 10th, 16.6 seconds. Onto the pit straight here, now comes Morris and Cattell. This will be interesting to see here, because Cattell now will have better traction off that last two. Morris goes again to the inside, as you see there. Cattell needs to now do the switch back again, looks to the outside, but again, he needs to get onto the inside here. But again, Morris is smart. Morris knows what to expect from Cattell. And he's obviously been under this pressure early in the race, so it's not like he's experiencing this for the first time. But both these guys, Cattell especially, looking very racy indeed. But Morris is keeping his head cool under pressure. If Cattell maybe can try and force a mistake from Morris here at some point. I've got OJ Clark in a synergetic car ahead. Gap's gone back up at the front by another 3/10, so possibly Rowan's now trying to respond and keep that gap static. There goes Cattell up the inside for Morris, but Morris again has that slight advantage and keeps his nose ahead through the last couple of corners. Now again onto the pit straight. How's this going to play out? Morris is back in. Morris is obviously playing the a 3 or possibly 4 stop strategy. This is his 3rd pit stop, so whether he's going to possibly try, it's quite possibly if he's on super soft he may have to stop again. I think maybe experiencing a bit more tyre wear than the other cars. That's probably trying to get more grip in order to try and bang in faster lap times. But we'll keep track of that. Down the pit straight comes Lanovsky. I can see there now hits as well, so he's in the pits and he hits the stops for Norja. I think it looks as though Concilio and Morris are both on 4 stop strategies. I think they're possibly going to have to stop again. Like another set of super softs. And I've taken more tenths out of Rowan again. Gap's now 16.3 seconds. Got the 2 Stanton cars battling for 12th and 13th. Both a lap down on Rowan, but it is for position. Morris has just negotiated them on his outlap on the pits on his new set of super softs. I haven't seen very many team battles going on, inter-team battles on track so far this season. One of them might be a bit short-lived, but we'll find out. Field now, as the pit stops go, seems to be a little bit more spread out. I mean, intriguingly, I think possibly, unless he's still suffering from a little bit of damage, well, it's not really making the inroads which we probably expect him to make on his comeback. He's only still 9th. That'll only be 2 points, and of course Roland, will take advantage of that and try and close in on his teammate up in the standings as well. But Roland and Carl Smith are kind of toing and froing between lap times because the gap is still hovering around 16.5 to 17 seconds. Roland's not really letting Carl Smith make any inroads at all on him. And at the same time, Carl Smith just can't really seem to get a break enough. The gap's gone to 16.9 seconds just in that sector alone. Now negotiates a green stripes racing car, but it's not Carl Smith, it's actually Matt Clip. He's putting a lap on. So Lucas is actually gaining time on Joe now. In fact, they're just about in the same shot now. So, and also, we've learned that it's actually Joe Casilio's birthday today. So, many happy returns to the Maltese driver there. So, I'm sure he'd love to game. I'm sure he would have loved a better result than 8th place as a birthday present, but even a win would have been nice. But at the moment, he's currently sat 8th, and he'll get 3 points as a present of sorts. Still soldiering on in 8th place. Of course, he's our reigning, and also he is a double GPVWC Super League champion. But not had the start he was hoping for. I think everyone's been surprised by the pace of the midnight cars, and they're just really trying to push as hard as they can. Try and get development. But they're now second in development now to midnight. About 6 steps behind where the dark blue cars are now. Of course, we can see it being an exceptional driver himself. So we're going to improve that in the second half of the season with that excellent form we had when they brought that again, that massive update to Canada last year, and just dominate the second half of the season. Saw Joe take his second title, but unless a dramatic change in fortunes happens, the odds are looking like that might not happen again this year. But of course, we've still got 12 races to go. Anything could happen. Roland on lap 47 now. 46 laps complete. We're heading towards, or going towards, 3/4 of the way through. What's been a fascinating Hungarian Grand Prix, certainly full of action in the first half of the race. Battles and incidents. Very chaotic and frantic first half of the race. Many things going on. Now it's starting to pan out. Simon Cattell is now in the pits. Another set of tyres. Morris goes past and takes 3rd place. This should be interesting because now Morris is now ahead of Cattell once again. He's got a much bigger gap this time. He's managed to really use those new tyres and the clear air that he apparently had to his advantage. He is now looking to try and see what he can do to extend the gap as much as he can before his next pit stop. The gap is not very much though. Also battle for 7th developing between Tom Parker and Casilio. Casilio has just about started. He's almost on the back. In fact, he is on the back of Tom Parker's car now. Tom Parker actually once drove for Nordjern. He did a race in Spain last year. He was on course to finish 3rd, possibly even 2nd, but I think he either ran out of fuel or had a bit of an accident. But he's now got a Nordjern all over the back of him now. That should be interesting to see how he does with that. And Lucas Euler, actually, that's quite interesting. Lucas Euler has actually now dropped back from Casilio, so whether he's actually pitted since then, or whether he's trying to make his strategy run as long as possible and just work the tyres as best as possible. Joe has stopped more recently, so of course Joe would be on fresher tyres. As Joe now looks around the outside of Tom Parker, makes it stick. Good stuff for the Malts from the reigning world champions, proving that he can still race. We're going a bit deep through the final corner, but still, he's up to 7. Pulling away very quickly, so he's obviously using those fresh tyres to his advantage. Whether or not that's just pure pace, or whether or not Parker has a little bit of a problem, or whether or not his tyres about to stay their welcome. See. And Euler now has a chance to close up. He's only 4.2 seconds behind. Of course, that will close a bit. Gap to the leaders quickly is at 18.2 seconds, so whether Roland got a little bit caught in traffic, possibly, but Roland is now just keeping his gaps at 18.4, so it's now going back up slightly. Smith has just lapped Scott Bennett. Scott Bennett is 3 laps down and in 18th ahead of his teammate Mark Fuller. Those two are kind of really in a race of their own, the ST racing cars. Got Bennett standing in for Tom Ely due to some injuries he sustained in an accident. So wish him a speedy recovery and hope we see him in the cockpit of a GPVWC car very soon, or as soon as possible. It's very unfortunate, obviously, circumstances that he's had, but of course, like I said, wish him a speedy recovery and hope that we see Tom Ely back out on track once again very soon. Back up through the field as definitely just starting to fan out a bit more now and just a bit more static. I think really close battles on the track at the moment. It is a battle for 12th between the two Stanton brothers, the constant racing cars. It's the only real battle we've seen on track. There's any drivers that are really that relatively close to each other. Helio is just kind of ever so slowly actually onto the back of Tanston again. But it's kind of now everyone is, because of the events of the first half of the race, everyone's now completely out of sync on different strategies. So it's hard to tell exactly just where everyone's going to end up at the end of the race, because everyone seems to be pitting at different times, different stages due to everything that's happened. Now Tanston gets past OJ Clark, and obviously on his fresher tyre, he's actually closing pretty quickly on Tanston. Well, so our two champions in the series, and I think it's now Euler is now going to make a move on Parker. Down the pit straight, Parker goes defensive, very defensive in fact. Euler goes to the outside, but he may be able to make it stick or do the switchback. Answer is, well, Euler just sticks it round the outside, holds the inside for turn 2. Parker defends best he can, but you can't argue with that. Euler up to 8th place. Valiant effort from Parker, but in the end, he had no choice but to defend. And also that could be interesting, because the two Stanton cars had to let those two through, and that's going to only intensify their battle further. And I wonder how that will play out between those two. So Parker's Euler's next target rather is Casilio, 7 seconds up the road. He himself is now embroidering the battle line for 6th. Going for long, trying to look around the outside. It is champion on champion. Really the first time we've seen them properly battle on track. You see they're trying to look around the outside for around the second last quarter. OJ Clark passes to go through there. I'm not quite sure what he's doing there. Look at that! He got the great one on the outside. The second last quarter and he's through. See, up to 6th place now. He's really on a charge. And Tanskanen in the tow. Can he get him back? Closing. Again. See, darts back over on the racing line once again, but Tanskanen has to hold back on that one. And now it's Casillo now has an 8-second gap now to make up on his teammate Lowski. Already Casillo on those fresher tyres, making the most of them. He's really now starting to put the hammer down and get away from Tanskanen. And if I'm honest, it could just be mostly the car, in some cases the car, but I expected a bit more from Tanskanen. I expected to be a little bit quicker, a little bit more up there, but of course this is his first year back in after a sabbatical year. Originally he left the GPVWC station that he kind of won the championship and then just decided to retire. Then just it looks like possibly in some cases it is more the car in terms of the Red Archer car. A little bit underdeveloped, but of course they'll try and push that car a bit further as the season goes on. Of course we have the next race coming up in 2 weeks' time in Spain. Actually, interestingly, Euler has really got the past couple of laps, has put his foot on the gas, and he's now closed the gap down to, it's now 4.2 seconds, so he's actually starting to really close in on Tanskanen, so he can make it into 7th. And I believe that Carl Smith, Carl Smith possibly has stopped again, I think, because The gap now between Roland and Carl Smith is now 36 seconds. So I think possibly still 17 odd laps to go in this race. 17 or 18 laps to go. So those who are 3 stopping or even 4 stopping will have to make one more tyre change. I've actually seen Roland stop twice in this race. Unless someone can correct me on that. That's interesting. OJ Clark in 11th. He's now getting right onto the back of Tanskanen for 7th. Tanskanen, this is not the position. It's for Clark to unlap himself. Now, obviously that's going to be inconvenient for Tanskanen, but of course OJ will need to get himself unlapped as quickly as he can. Tanskanen heads in, so he'll do that anyway. Tanskanen hits the stops. 7th. And this will of course hand it on a plate to, guess who? Lucas Euler. Moves up another place to 7th. Now, next target is Joe Concilio, 9.6 seconds up the road. Now, of course, I'm pretty sure that Concilio will have to stop soon at some point in the next 17 or 18 laps for his last set of super soft tyres. So also what could be brewing once again is that battle for third between Lee Morris and Simon Cattell. Meanwhile, in the battle of the Stanton brothers, Mark has passed David, so he's now up to 12th, David down to 13th of course. Still have 19 cars still going. Last try was unfortunately Dale Carrick, as very unfortunate for him, he hasn't made the race out of 25 laps with a DNF, no cause as to what cause, no way of seeing what the cause was. Now, Roland, I think possibly he's obviously trying to do one stop less because in that past couple of laps alone, gap's gone down from 36 to 33 seconds between Carl Smith. Carl Smith actually has a nice piece of clear track in front of him. Look at the fact I think Roland's actually stopped again, I think, because Euler's in the pits as well. So we've got, I think Roland's possibly just stopped. Euler's now into the pits as well. This probably be his last, possibly could be his last stop for fuel and tyres. And the 2 ST racing cars are also battling. Even though it's not much, they're now very in close proximity. They were. One of our spotters told us. For 19th and 18th and 19th. They're currently bit of a gap between those two now at the moment. Apparently Scott Bennett made a mistake, so that caused what caused the battle to end prematurely. I think possibly with the gap big enough, I think possibly Roland has made his last stop, because the gap went from 36 to 18 seconds. I think possibly he's made his last stop. He's on those fresher tyres. Roland on course to make it 4 wins for midnight out of 4 races. And well, that's interesting. It's quickly looking. Across the line as they went through, Morris and Bennett, that was pretty much just over a tenth between them. Just caught the end of what looked like Cattell rejoining the track from the runoff area of turn 1, so they're still very close to each other. But I'm thinking these two will probably have another, again, as we said, they'll have another stop to make, I'm sure. But it'll all settle out. I think possibly in the next few laps they may have to make that stop. Cattell's tyres seem to be a little bit fresher, I think, because he's definitely closing on Morris as he has done past 2 occasions. And wow, Roland really got some clear air on that lap. That sector for that matter, because he's increased on the fresher tyres, he's increased his lead by about 6 or 7 tenths of a second. As Carl Smith continues on his way to try and hold station. And again, the ever-battling Morris and Cattell continue on their way. Now Concilio, despite his last stop, is actually up to 5th. Good stuff from him. Cattell now having a go up the outside of Morris to turn 1. There they go, and they've also got Easterbeek to contend with in front of them. Lapping him for 10th, the smoke coming from his engine as he's pushing it quite hard, or was that possibly wheel spin. Has a look up the inside. Gives him a tiny bit of a nudge on his rear wheel. But it's not enough to unsettle the drag racing car. Morris knows exactly how to keep cool under this. He's fought into this pressure twice before. Not going to really crack this time around unless Heasterbeek becomes a catalyst in this battle. There he is. There are the two cars battling for third and fourth. How much is Cattell willing to risk to try and get that podium place? Fourth will be good for points, because he'll definitely want a third place. He's looking very strong now. Morris again looking to the inside. Yes, he can only make one move. Holds firm. And again, oh, they made a mistake. That was bad. Morris went to the outside of the track too early, and Cattell's up the inside for third place. That was a mistake caused there as Morris goes into the pits. No, I wonder possibly Morris did that on purpose, I think, to let him through and just to give him the benefit of the doubt. So Cattell gets third, but I'm pretty sure Cattell will have to make his last stop as well. So Cattell has to use this clean air he's got, apart from the fact he's got Heasterbeek in front of him. Once he clears him, or at least he'll have to get his foot down and see what he can do. He'll need all the power he can harness from that Audi engine. As Morris exits the pits now. Casilio is in for his last stop as well. And he leaves his pit box now. So that's actually worked out really nicely for Casilio. And also he's got to be careful because look who's coming out alongside him. And look who's leapfrogged him, Pavlovsky. Now then, I wonder how that's going to work out, because Noski's actually headed in, of course, you can see those on those cold tyres. I'm not suggesting there's going to be team orders, but of course, will they be allowed to race, or will Noski relinquish that 5th place to Casilio to help him in the points? We'll see a bit of Joe is faster than you. Do you understand that message? Meanwhile, looking back, ever charging Lucas Euler now has found his next target, Jari Tanskanen. He's now all over the back of him, so it's probably going to be a matter of time before he gets 7th. Oh, and Tesla's got a big twitch out of turn 5. Caught the rear wheel onto the grass, and he did very well to catch that. Great driving from the Finn. Tanskanen here, under real pressure. And again, it's really look at that. Euler right to the inside, but Tanskanen defending very hard indeed. And Euler will now definitely look to try and make a move. Tanskanen wasn't fooled like Morris was last time round in the passing move he made. And again, Euler's in that plum seat. He's got the best seat now. This is his chance now to take 7th. He'll be easy, I think, on the pit straight. Into the toe. And Tanskanen goes to the outside, but of course Euler will try and get... Look at that. Euler just tried to cleanly drive his car around the outside. And Tanskanen puts his car in the middle of a track, and there's some wheel banging going on. And Euler's through, but Tanskanen's got very wide. Oh, there's contact! There was contact there between Tanskanen and Euler. Euler went too deep into that corner, and there was... Tanskanen's back through, and I'm back to where we're up we go. So that's... Euler's got to do that all over again. And he's been very strict, very hard defending. But Tanskanen, he wants to keep this 7th place. He's in no way intimidated by young Lucas Euler. Of course, Euler will certainly be a future champion. Tanskanen's already tasted that success once. And again, Tanskanen to the inside. Euler tries to drive it clean around the outside, and he almost does it. It's just the difference in grip that car has. And also look behind. Rulland's also catching these two. So how ironic's that? Rulland is about to lap his teammate. Now, unless he'll do that, or unless he may well leave him with a lap to go. But never mind about that. Euler up on the inside. Tanskanen has got the straight line speed. And he literally had his rear wing, Euler had his front wing shoved up underneath the gearbox. He's got the inside line. And looks like he'll take the position on Willie. Down the inside, he has got it round the outside. So Euler up to 7th. And also, whilst we've been watching that, Casilio has gone past Noski. So Casilio is up to 5th. That's good. So it should be a decent points haul then for the Nord-Gen cars. 5th and 6th to get both cars to the finish. And I reckon possibly, I wonder if it's going to be the same strategy that they implied in Australia, where Euler backed off a little bit to allow Roland to keep his lap. And also, just quickly, as we're also watching that, Cattell's pitted, and Morris has retaken 3rd. So Morris, out of all the melee, looks like he is on course, I think, possibly for a podium place. That will probably please him, especially as the fact he looks like he's definitely certain to finish ahead of one of the midnight cars, and that will certainly please him, and ahead of Casilio as well. But excellent stuff then. Also, I mentioned again Dave Carl-Smith. Remember, first race back in Super League since he left last season, and already doing exactly what that Green Stripes racing car can do, and that will be excellent for their car. They'll definitely need the prize money and the points that will go with it as well. So very good stuff from Dave Carl-Smith. He, of course, is a reserve driver. Of course, he's stood in for Christopher Lichtenstein. I can't help feeling that without DCS in this car for tonight's race, the result wouldn't really be possible. Not to take away from Christoph. All these guys are exceptional drivers. Some have a bit more skill. Some have to be fair, a bit more natural pace. And a little bit of a battle going on between Lewis Redshaw, who is in a constant sandwich, literally, because he's in a constant racing sandwich between the two Stanton brothers. He's in a Stanton sandwich as well. But 12th, 13th and 14th, they're scrapping over. Also, they've got there in front of them OJ Clark a little bit in front of them, as Tom Parker is now on the back of him to lap him. We have now just about 8 or 9 laps to go. Hungarian Grand Prix. Not been as action-packed in the first half, but still, it's been intriguing nonetheless. I think even though Roland is just a holding station behind Euler, he's doing enough. Actually, even still increasing the gap between himself and Carl-Smith. I think obviously Euler is definitely showing this pace he still has to try and haul himself quick up through the field. Now, of course, his next target is, of course, Lowski. He's not actually too far up the road. I wonder maybe in the 9 or so laps that are left in the race, I wonder how much of how much time Euler can claw back on Lowski. We'll have to see how that pans out. Lowski goes across the line now. The gap between him and Euler, as he comes onto the pit straight, currently sits at just under 7 seconds. 6.9 to be exact. As Roland now behind him starts lap 63. Obviously he's now lapped everyone up to Jani Tanskanen in 8th. So of course I think obviously to return the favour for the gesture that Euler made in Australia, Roland will stay where he is 7th. After 13th going on, it looks like that now Redshaw is now battling with David Stanton, as Mark has now managed to make a bit of a break, as Dave Carl-Smith is in the middle of them trying to lap them. Put his second lap on these three. But he got rid of 2. Now he's going to try and get past Mark Stanton. I'm sure we'll relinquish that place anytime soon. The gap surprisingly is still increasing bit by bit. It's now 27 seconds between Roland and Carl-Smith. So Roland definitely carrying momentum. He'll carry it into the next round at Barcelona. Of course, no one seems to be able to stop Midnight Motorsport. Remember, they kind of saved all their money in R&D over the second half of the 2011 season. then put it all into creating what seems to be a definitely race-winning and extremely competitive car. And I'll tell you what, Euler definitely showing his pace as well. Been up there. He's not been really been slightly out of the spotlight, obviously, since he's not really been up there winning the race, but still, he's definitely doing everything he can to increase his chances of grabbing a 6th place, getting himself a couple more points. I mean, the gap between him and Milowski is now down to, have a look, the gap is now, as they come through, it's now only 3.5 seconds. And he took half a second out of Milowski on that sector alone, so Milowski then is falling into the clutches of the current championship leader. And actually this pace is enough for Roland just to try and stay with him and just hold where he is. Although would just be keen to get that car into the finish, but again, still be pushing to try and get himself a couple more points. If he has that chance, he will take it. Gaps are down to 3.2, so it's almost just now down to 3 seconds. The Euler is closing in, but you can see that the Norwegian car is getting closer and closer. But Roland then moves into the phase where we have about 5 laps to go then. Smith looks as though he has 2nd place in the bag, and that'll be, as we said, a welcome result for him. The BMW powered Stripes racing machine. And surprise, we have the battle for 3rd is on yet again. This is the 4th time this has happened now. But Morris then and Cattell are going to fight over 3rd place once again. Onto the pit straight they come. Morris is under attack from Cattell once again. Cattell has the tow. Down to turn 1, Morris defends the inside line. Cattell sweeps to the outside. Has a look round the outside, can't make it stick. Again, ducks underneath the drag racing car. Again looks to the outside. Morris holds the inside once again, so it's kind of going back and forth between these two. And I'm sure that Morris will be enjoying this. And look at this side by side up towards turn 4. Walker does contend down there around the outside. He tries it, bangs wheel slightly, but think again has to back out of it, not to stray too far off the racing line. Cattell literally again tucked under the gearbox of Morris again as they can sweep through the end of the 2nd sector. Remember, this is for position, it's for the last podium spot, because Roland and Carl Smith have those 2 places pretty much sewn up. But it's between these two where they're going to battle it out, and that was almost. I thought Morris had just completely left the door open for Cattell, but it seems to be that the Piano Sport driver didn't really have his car up alongside enough to make a move. And again he looks again, trying to dummy Morris as much as he can. Another good run out that last corner. He's got a good toe now. This could be a good chance for him to make a move. And again Morris goes to the inside. Cattell goes to the outside again. And again he looks round to the outside, can't make it stick. Cattell backs out of it. It's kind of a vicious cycle going on here. There's not really. Cattell's going to have to be creative here. He's going to have to try and maybe use the back markers, or just try and pressure him into a mistake. With obviously Morris has stayed extremely cool under all this pressure. Very experienced. He's last year he not only raced in GPVWC, raced in Formula Sim Racing, and also the Italian SRZ F1 League as well. Won the Monaco Grand Prix in the SRZ League. Definitely showed some flashes of brilliance in that league as well. So Lee Morris actually ran 3 F1 leagues last year. He's cut down his commitments to just GPVWC, and we're happy to have him in the league. Definitely showing his quality as driver in this race, holding off Simon Cattell. Again, Cattell himself is also a very exceptional driver. Definitely showing that he can fight up there for at least this is what is going to be position. Look at that! Fuller's bulking. This could be the chance he's got. Fuller moves out of the way, but is that just the opportunity that Cattell needs? They're 3 wide and almost. Look at that! Fuller had to back out of almost being run into by Morris. And as the shenanigans going on in front. Oh, and David Johnson spun in front of them as well, in the Red Archer car as well. Now we've got Lewis Redshaw in front of them. and trying to hold this lead whilst going through back markers, that's not an easy task. And also, whilst we've been talking, Euler has got past Lonowski, so he's caught him and passed, so Euler's up to 6th place. Now, I don't believe he'll be able to catch Concilio. I think that's probably going to be a done deal for Concilio in 5th. So a good fight back from those two, despite their first half, their incidents in the first half of the race. But we daren't pull away from this battle for 3rd place. As we said, the front 2 is already decided. It's pretty much certain, unless we get any last minute drama from either of them. But Cattell desperately wants that 3rd place. He's alongside, he's pulling alongside, tries around the outside, he's at the inside line, he's very wide on the edge of the edge. Now, is that legal? Because Cattell was fully off the racing line, he's actually given the place back there. Or did he? Oh, and Morris didn't leave very much room out there as well. But I was questioning. Now, that was interesting because Cattell went wide and went outside the track limits to hold the inside line for the penultimate corner. Now, if he kept that position, would the race steward deem that as legal? Not quite sure, but it's still Morris 3rd and Cattell 4th. I would have possibly looked at that as a steward, race director, seeing that. But Morris goes. Cattell tries around the outside. He's got the inside line for turn 3. Has he made a mistake this time? No, he hasn't. Morris once again holds on to that 3rd place. How in the world is he doing this? And Cattell looks again to the outside, tries to switch through. Cattell showing his class here, but Morris is determined. He will not let go of this place. He will not let go of 3rd place. He wants it desperately. But Cattell looks like he wants it just as much, if not more. We're getting very close to Roland, and Roland's just started his penultimate lap. But again, Cattell on that inside, Cattell there again. Morris to the inside. Look at that! Look at the switchback. He's done it. Cattell up the inside. He's gone deep. Has he gone deep? Yes, he has. Oh, let's count again. They've back lost twice, and Morris is back through. This is a wonderful battle. This could be one of the highlights of the season between these two. This is the battle that's gone on all race long through the pit stops. 4 times these guys battled on track, and once again here it comes. Cattell looks. He's trying to dummy him, and again. Oh, look at that! I thought Cattell was even going to look to the inside there. I thought Cattell was actually going to look to the inside to try and shove his way down into turn 1. There's David stands ahead again. Look at that! No, there's contact. Morris has lost it. Morris has lost 3rd place, but he's let it back again. Cattell, I think, realised that was a bit of an aggressive move, and lets Morris back through again, so we're back to square one once again. Morris is now 3rd again, Cattell 4th. Meanwhile, Roland has started his last lap, and we'll come to him in a second. We'll make sure that we catch past him crossing the line in a moment as he comes through. He's now come through the first corner, now up back to Lonowski. Meanwhile, really the crowds are on the edge of their seat because they really are fixed on this battle for 3rd. It's going to be down to the wire. Could be even a photo finish. Who is going to get this last podium spot? It will be Morris or Cattell unless something drastic happens. Cattell again round the outside, and he's gone wide again. Bit more wheel banging. But we'll come back to that battle as we can. We'll keep track of it as Morris comes behind David Stanton. We'll keep up to date on that one as we can as they start their last lap. But coming back then to our race leader. And, well, he grabbed his first win in Abu Dhabi, and again, it's all falling into place. Got a considerably better start than his teammate. He's even had an accident where he actually hit with Scott Bennett and Dave Carl Smith, but he's shown his class today, and Midnight continue their winning ways, and it's now equal terms because Nick rounds the final corner and makes it 2 wins in a row. He wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. What a fantastic drive by Rowan to grab his 2nd win in a row and his 2nd win of the season. Dave Carl Smith will get 2nd, but Cattell lost his front wing. We just told Cattell lost his front wing. Where's he gone? Well, he's still got it. Well apparently there's been a collision. Oh, he has lost his. There it is. He's made contact before turn 4, and he has lost his front wing. That's it. So that is pretty much the race settled. So I wonder what happened there. Maybe someone can fill in as to what exactly happened between them two. Whether or not was it deliberate contact, whether Cattell lost his braking point. But there, Carl Smith comes across the line, Second place for Carl Smith. What a fantastic drive by him on his comeback. Give credit where credit's due. That makes up for his poor start to the Super Cup season. And Lee Morris, how happy will he be with this, if at all? Lee Morris comes across third place for Lee Morris. And Joe Casino stats fourth. Joe Casino stats fourth. I can tell we'll just hold on to help. Comes across starting. Joe gets fourth place on the last lap. Cattell will just about get fifth place. Cattell, sorry, will get fifth place. Euler on his fight back, not spectacular as it was in Abu Dhabi, but still sixth place for him. Ahead of Pavlanovsky, who actually goes to the pits on the final lap. That's quite unusual, but he will finish the race in the pits in seventh. Taskner has already finished in eighth. Tom Parker will have to finish in ninth. Mr. is coasting round in 10th, which I believe, I think he's just about out of fuel. No, he's coasting on the engine, still running, he's out of fuel. But we have a winner then, and it is Nick Rowland. 2 wins out of the last 2 races. And what can you say about this man? He's done so well. And he's definitely taken advantage. Not to say that this was a lucky win. There was some luck involved. But of course, Nick showed his pace and showed his class in Abu Dhabi, and he's shown it once again here around the Hungarian. But of course, you cannot take away from Dave Carlsmith as well. What a great stuff! I'm not sure possibly what Cattell will think of that move. Apparently, he's not too happy about that one. Looks like there was some arguing already going on between the 3rd and 4th place after that one. But we'll try and get an interview with the top 3 in a second. We'll try and get them into the press conference in a second. But let's run down then the final finish positions then for the 2012 GPVWC Hungarian Grand Prix. It is Nick Rowland with a 2nd win in a row, the 4th win for Midnight Motorsport. 2nd, what a drive, Dave Carl Smith for Green Stripes Racing. Great result from them. They will take that result very, very nicely. 2nd place for them and the points to go with it. 3rd, Lee Morris holds off Simon Cattell's lap. Epic charge for 3rd place. You can see there Statch is 4th on the last lap ahead of Simon Cattell in 5th. He crossed the line without a front wing, obviously because of the last lap collision. Lucas Euler fights back to 6th after actually getting a poor start and getting hit from behind by Consilio. 7th is Pavlanovsky for Nordjern Racing, so a double points finish as well for Nordjern. Johnny Tansker finishes 8th. 9th is Tom Parker Woods Racing, he goes a couple of points, and Ricky Speak rounds out the top 10. And to finish off the rest of the field, 11th is OJ Clark, 12th, Mark Stanton, his brother David 13th, David Jupp finishes 14th, Lewis Redshaw 15th, Mark Wicks 16th, Matt Clipp 17th, and then Scott Bennett and Mark Fuller in the 2ST Racing cars 17th and 18th. And the retirements from this race were Dale Carrick, Gavin Thomas, Ben Morgan, Abel Damgi, Kieran Ryan, Bart DeVos, and it was Liam Hatcher who retired on the very first lap, unfortunately. So, we will look then to see if we can possibly grab, if possible, the top 3 in the press conference. If we can also get them in here. Get the thoughts of Rowland and Dave Carl Smith and, of course, Lee Morris. I believe will all be available for that. Going through. It's quite interesting because there is actually a bit of an argument going on now out of the cars now, obviously between some of the drivers, between essentially Morris and Cattell. I'm not exactly happy with what's happened there. Of course, I personally didn't see what happened on that one, but that could go on for quite some time. In fact, possibly there could be a process. I'm guessing between Simon Cattell, but I think they'll probably have a look, see what happened. But yeah, in my point of view, looking at that one, I think Cattell several times was literally right on the rear wing. Again, this is me being totally impartial as possible. I think Cattell was very much on the rear wing of Lee Morris a lot of the time, and Lee Morris did actually Morris kept his inside line as much as he could. Didn't make any sudden swerves across. Made one move when he was defending, and again, I didn't see the actual contact, but maybe we'll see that on the replay. And also Simon Cattell. Also, we see as we saw trying to overtake, Cattell was taking a lot of the curb as well. But we're getting the top 3 in here now then. So we'll go ahead and record the press conference. So let's see if we can record that then. So bear with us. Here we go. Here we go then. This is the top 3 for the 2012 GPVWC Hungarian Grand Prix. We have first place taking his second win of the season and in a row. He's Nick Ronan for Midnight Motorsport Ferrari. Second, Dave Carl-Smith for Green Stripes Racing BMW. And third, Lee Morris for Drake Racing Mercedes. So Nick, we find you once again in the winner's circle. 2 wins out of 2 races. Did you ever think that after the shenanigans of the first couple of laps, did you ever think off the start that it would be another win?
No, not in the slightest. I had a horrible, horrible start this time. After being so good for the first few races, this one was awful. Same sort of launch, but for some reason the engine dipped, and I don't know if the engine... I thought the engine had died initially, but I think I just lost revs, and it did not get away from me at all. It was just... The first few laps were crazy, absolutely crazy, and I was able to start making my way back through and passing a few people, which was pretty risky in some places around the track, but I knew I had to, because Dave's pace was staying quite consistent, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to do anything about it at the time. But to bring home another win, I'm shocked for one thing, but again, it feels just as good as the last one.
You had some nervous moments, including, I believe, what I possibly could have caught off camera, but you had a bit of an incident, I think, with Cattell, I believe with Cattell and also with Scott Bennett. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, that was pretty tough, that. We came round the very fast left-right just after the chicane in the middle sector, and as I basically held it to the racing line to overtake, and Scott moved right, but I think he must have thought I was going to change direction, because he moved back onto the racing line, and I went into him, and then Simon then hit into the back of me, which both of us caused a lot of damage. I had a lot of damage, even beyond I had to repair the front wing. But after that, it was just trying to hold on to the car, because it was so oversteery with the amount of rear damage I received from Simon going into the back of me.
And of course, you managed to hold on to the lead. So, just how much pressure did you feel from Dave Carl-Smith in the last few laps? Obviously, you were able to maintain the gap, but I mean, obviously, with a slightly damaged car, was it easy at all?
No, I didn't. Well, we were able to maintain it just about, but I thought with the way Dave was driving and the fact he was getting a consistent undercut, that his tyres may play to his favour when mine were going off. And obviously then I was struggling with oversteer, so I was overheating the rear tyres even more. But I was able to do enough, and we were able to pace it correctly, and we were able to control. But when I came up on Dave at one point, we were able to control it as well. That we didn't have any contact.
Very quickly, my last question. We had something, a couple of rumours that you were planning in terms of strategy something special. Were you planning to, obviously without the contact and everything that went on the first few laps, were you planning to possibly stop one stop less than everyone else, possibly even a 2-stop strategy?
Honestly, no. I tested it. I tested it because I seem to just be able to drive it slightly more conservatively more than Lucas, but he's just got outright pace. I was able to get a good sort of window, but it wasn't quite enough. I was just on the cusp of really being able to 2-stop, so I ended up opting for 3.
Well, congratulations, Nick. Your second win in a row. That's very well deserved, so well done with that.
Thank you very much.
On to second place, Dave Carl-Smith. Dave, welcome back to Super League. How delighted are you with this second place? And essentially, what is your first, probably your best result since you won in Monaco last year?
Well, that's pretty good, considering the kind of cars we're up against. I think that's we got the maximum from that today. There's not a lot else we could have done.
You definitely seem to be in the early stages, obviously with the lead, battling with Simon Cattell. You seem to be to have some very good pace. And obviously, of course, you had 1 or 2 incidents. You had a bit of an incident, I think, with Cattell in the early stages. Just talk us through how that occurred.
I wasn't with him as such. Out of the fast right-hander in Sector 2, I clipped somebody's front wing, gave me a puncture. So I had to pit early for that, and that kind of threw the whole strategy off, but recovered okay. It did make a difference in the end, Nick was too far ahead.
Definitely seemed to be in the pit stops when you change the tyres. That in the first couple of stops that you made, you were able to get an undercut. I mean, at what point did you realise that the Nick was too far ahead to catch?
Probably when he passed Joe. Was it Joe? No, it wasn't Joe. It was Jan. When he passed him in the first stint, there was no way I would have held Nick off. He was so much quicker than me.
And of course, this, I guess, this really does, in some cases, makes up for the kind of poor start you've had in, or the horrible start you've had in Super Cup. Just in terms of comparing your Fortune Super Cup to your essentially a magnificent return in Super League, how does this compare to your fortunes in Super Cup?
I think the characteristics of the car played a lot into it. The only thing I've been struggling with in Super Cup really is the consistency of the car. It's very unpredictable, whereas obviously an F1 car I'm very familiar with. It's much easier to drive on the edge without incident.
Well done. Welcome back to Super League, and good to see you on the podium once again. Going to third place, Lee Morris. Lee, well, what can we say about that loss? That battle with Simon pretty much all race long. Well, just give us your thoughts on it overall. Obviously, we saw some kind of what we see in the chat, some bit of fisticuffs in some cases. Just talk us through essentially how that essentially through the battle in terms of your view, in terms of the whole race.
Well, I don't want to say too much about the battle with Simon because I'm fuming, to be honest. I really am. The battle was not fair in any way, in my opinion. I held and stuck to my line, which is the defence, because his car was way quicker than mine. I had no option but to defend. I'm not just going to let him through. At the end of the day, I'm trying to win a championship. I'm not just going to let him through. And I held the inside line whenever I could. I didn't make 2 moves or 3 moves on a straight. I made 1 move, simple as. And I'll always do that because me and Joe have proven many times in the past that you can race fairly. We've had 2 years of racing and no contact. So how come when I race with Simon today there's loads of contact, and Yanni as well. When I went down the inside of him, they just turn in, they just leave you no room. I held my line, and he rammed me pretty much 5 times on the last lap, on the second to last lap in my opinion. My car was completely damaged. It was pulling to the left, pulling to the right, and I don't know what else to say about it.
Definitely seemed to show at some kind of pace, obviously in terms of ultimate pace comparing to Nick and Dave, but of course it's still a third place. So I mean, ideally, even though you, in some cases, of course, you would like to be up there, kind of winning and beating the midlights, you have in some way with Lucas. Is third place anything, despite what's happened with obviously Simon on track, is third place really anything to smile about at all?
It would have been. I mean, the aim is today was 4th. That was the objective, because that was what I thought the maximum was going to be. Obviously, what happened at the start, I still don't know what happened. I just saw lots of smoke and wings flying everywhere, and I managed to get through, and then I got a punch in myself. So, which forced me onto a 4-stop actually, which actually was the better strategy, I believe. So, I'm quite happy for that in some respects. But I would have been happy about this 3rd place, but this has just kind of soured it with that last lap, getting accused of a chop that just never happened. I mean, you make fair moves and things like that, and people just take advantage of that. And I mean, he passed me once on the green AstroTurf on the outside. I mean, that's not racing, you know. He's just going right outside of me, using the track to his advantage, and I didn't push him wide because that's my part of the track. That's where I am on the track. I can't disappear. But yeah, he's trying to claim that I pushed him out wide. Same with Yanni when we had that tussle in middle of the race. It was deemed a racing incident. But I don't see how it can be, because he just turned in on me when I was clearly down the inside. You know, I was so much quicker. I was down the inside. How can it be a racing incident? Or blamed as my fault? I don't understand how they can see that.
Just finally, obviously going into the next few races, obviously continuing on the European season with Spain and aiming towards Monaco. In terms of developing the car, I mean, is there anything in the pipeline that we possibly could be seeing to hopefully help obviously Drake get a bit closer to the likes of Midnight in Norway?
Well, today the gap was closer, I believe, in qualifying, although I didn't really get a chance to show my true pace in qualifying, which was at least another half second, because I got caught up with a tussle with Scott Bennett, which wasn't really his fault, it was just a mistake. But yeah, there's about, well, over the next month, let's say, there's a lot of upgrades coming for our car. So I think we can really at least try and get regular podiums. I still don't know if it'll be enough to challenge Midnight, but we can only try.
Well, despite the last lap shenanigans with Simon, very well done, and I think this is probably I think personally it's a podium that you possibly should be pretty happy with. So well done with that one. Good effort on that one. Just final thought with Nick then. Nick, obviously now moving further on to the European season, as we said, moving on to Spain. Obviously, there was in some cases, along with the fact that your drive was brilliant, there was in some cases quite a lot of luck involved with the likes of Lucas and Joe having mistakes. Of course, if Joe and Nick, and also with Lee as well being on form, with Joe and Lucas rather and Lee being on form, it's definitely gonna make it a lot harder for you to maintain this win streak, isn't it?
Oh yeah, without doubt. I said this in my previous race, and the last time I won. Again, circumstantially, in some respects picked this up, but I've still been able to pick it up essentially and get another win and stay consistent with it, even with my bad start and obviously losing my front wing as well. I've still been able to convert it into good points and a race victory. On a clean track with a clean race, it could very much be different. I'm fully aware of that, and I fully well know I've got more and more work to do each week. But nevertheless, I'm just taking this, to be honest, at the moment, because it's fantastic, to be honest, to get another win. So coming into the next few races, it's just going to get tougher and tougher and tougher, as Lee said, as Drake especially starts to close on us.
Well, final thought then, just quickly also just to make you aware, Nick, you are actually also leading the championship as you head into Spain. You lead Lucas by 1 point. It's you with 48 points and Lucas with 47. Lee's actually also in third place with 40, and Joe has 34 points. So, you go into the race, you go into in Spain as championship leader. So, of course, and also with 2 wins, you certainly got a lot of momentum, and as you said, it's going to be tough to hold them off. So, in terms of realistically, your chances of winning Spain, how do you see your chances in Spain, as you said, with a clean fight and a clean track?
Up against a teammate, tough. Against the rest of the field, depending on upgrades, still a podium.
Well, there we go. Excellent stuff. Thank you to the 3 drivers in the press conference. Of course, Nick Rowland, who is our race winner today, second Dave Cosworth, and third Lee Morris. And that pretty much wraps it up for tonight's racing here at the Hungarian. The next races you will see for us here, I'll bring up the calendar in terms of competitions. Better look on the wiki actually to find the next upcoming events. The next upcoming events we have is next Wednesday. We have the Formula Challenge race round 4 of that championship. Will be at the Slovenian Grand Prix, the Motodrom Petrolija, April 25th. So that'll be interesting to see how that pans out. And then after that, we come back to Hungary because it's our first round of the World Sports Series. It's kind of our own version of the Porsche Super Cup, and we have a lot of teams probably trying to enter that, and that'll be quite interesting to see how that turns out. 26th of April on Thursday, so be sure to tune in for that one. Then 2nd of May, we head to Barcelona for the Super Cup race, which is the Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona. And that's on the 2nd of May again on the Wednesday. And then once again, we're back with Super League action again for the Spanish Grand Prix. Should be roughly around 7 to 7:30. Technical problems hopefully will not appear this time. But roughly sometime around 7 to 7:30, hopefully we'll get that broadcast out. And it will be Super League to see if Nick Rowland can keep that advantage, whether or not Lucas Orler can have a clean race and get his 3rd race to win the season, or can the likes of even Lee Morris or Joe Cantillo grab themselves a win. Well, and until next time, that is pretty much it for tonight's broadcast. I've been Scott Woodwis with Simon Mellish on cameras. Again, well done to our top 3, and until next time, we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for Barcelona. But until then, bye for now. It's also been a GPVWC presentation for simrace.tv. Thank you.